Hello, everybody. Welcome to NuPath Live. My name is Dan Harrison. I'm your host. It's been a while since we've had one of these things, um, probably almost 6 months. And that's going from a pace of having them, once a week many years ago to once every other week. But we have a packed agenda. We're going to talk about some of our strategic priorities over this upcoming year, specifically in the realm of new technologies and how that is important to NuPath. But I wanted to start out by doing a little look back and a little remember when to 5 years ago. And I pulled this screenshot from one of the very first videos that we did in this format in 2020. And most of you will probably remember that was at the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic that really caused a lot of disruption to our services, to say the least. Now, I'm going to just say this little plug for advocacy before we move in and have our guests on. You may have been hearing in the news discussions around potential threat to Medicaid funding. Now, maybe that doesn't sound like anything that pertains to you, but if you are watching this video, if you are connected with NuPath, whether that be a family member or one of our staff, or in fact, even one of the people that we do business with, it could be very important. I'm trying to say it in a way that's not going to put any kind of political spin on anything, because I know we have people working for us that of various political persuasions. So I'm just going to try to stick to the facts. But we do know that there has been a budget resolution that is being considered that has proposed cuts up to $880 billion to Medicaid over the next 10 years. There are people that think that, and rightly so, that maybe the government spending is too much. And so this is how they're proposed to make some of these cuts. And most of the money that NuPath gets from the state, comes one way or another through Medicaid and is essential to the services that we provide. So without getting too much into the advocacy sphere right now, I do want to point out a couple of things to you all. One great resource, if you want to get involved and have a positive impact, would be to check out the resources under ANCOR. ANCOR is a national advocacy trade, and they are very connected into what's going on at the federal level. If you go to the first page, you'll see Visit Medicaid Resource Center. If you click on that, it takes you to a toolkit that you can use in your advocacy work. If you click on the advocacy toolkit, you'll see that there are all kinds of tips to more effectively engage with your state reps, and all kinds of tools around lobbying and basics, even how a bill becomes law and so on. This is about reaching out to the federal delegates. That's our elected officials that are in the House of Representatives and the 2 senators that we get. And I just did a really quick sheet because, again, we're not going to be doing too hard a push. Mostly we're waiting to see what happens. We know that, believe me, these guys have been contacted. This shows the different districts in case you're wondering, but you can easily find that online. And there's many ways that you can send a letter and let people know how important services for people with disabilities are to you. So stay tuned. There may be more on that. We hope that it doesn't come to any significant cuts that affect our services. But if it does, I know that I can count on the NuPath community to rally behind, because whether you're a Republican or Democrat, you know that if you're connected with NuPath, that disability services are very important. Okay, now that I'm done preaching, in fact, I mentioned technology, and that is what we are going to focus today. People may be sick of hearing about it, but NuPath added a couple of different new positions in the past quarter or so that I wanted to talk about and to introduce the people who are in those roles. The first one is our integrated system administrator, a position that was designed to integrate our administrative needs with our field, finding ways for our field to become more efficient, to use the tools that we have more effectively. And the person that has recently been hired into that position, his name is Mahesh Subedi. Let's talk to Mahesh now. Mahesh Subedi, welcome to NuPath Live.
Hi, Dan. Thank you so much for having me on NuPath Live. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. You know, we used to do these NuPath Lives on a regular basis. It started with the pandemic as a way to communicate to people. And then we kind of backed off to a less regular schedule. And then you know how things go. Before you know it, you have them once a quarter, twice a year. We're trying to get back on some sort of a regular schedule. But so you haven't had a lot of time or opportunities to see this in action. But one of the things I love to do the most is to interview people that do some of the great work around our organization, and especially people maybe that are new to the scene or have an interesting sort of role or purpose within the organization. So you've been with us for about a year now.
Just 1 year.
And
I'm still a rookie.
your
Yeah.
official title is Integrated Systems Administrator. That sounds like a fancy word for something, a fancy title for something. I'd love it if you could tell us a little bit in your words what your job entails, and then we'll see if it matches with what I thought it was.
Great. Thank you. That's very wonderful question. And then, because the wording, because what we do here at NuPath, we use different tools. We use different platforms, what our needs are, what we want to do. So for example, there are three, four things that I'm, working on right now. I'm talking about the platform and stuff like that. So the emergency medical, electronic medical records, navigating life, the shift board that is coming up. So they're all kind of, linked together, right? So we
These
want
are
to
all the technology systems that NuPath has in place or that we are adopting and trying to get out into the field. All the many different kinds of systems that we use, you try to bring them together in a way that makes sense and has purpose for our staff in the field.
Absolutely, yeah. So what tool we have in place and how to get best out of it, right? Because we can only get best out of it when we use it. And then
Mhm.
for people to be able to use it, people have to create the training plans, and then people, we have to make sure that people who are, who needed to use it, they feel more comfortable, using the tools and then, get best out of it. And at the same time, what is coming out there, technology changes every day. You have wonderful tool today, and then tomorrow all of a sudden you get up, now you start hearing about the new tool, new technology,
So you've just said a lot there. You know, you said talking about technology. I think anybody, on this planet that is paying even half a bit of attention to anything has heard all about the craze about artificial intelligence and many of the different chatbots that are now available. So many of them, whether people know it or not, are integrated into the tools we use every day. And so it feels like we're on the verge of some really important emergent technology that is just out there for the taking. How we adopt it, and then more importantly, how we train our people, give them the tools, and then hold them accountable or hold ourselves accountable for using the tools, I think is the critical thing. Because you can have the best technology in the world and give everybody passwords and a username, and doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get anything out of it. And so I think that's where the very tricky task comes in that you've been hired to help us with. Mahesh, I wish you'd tell us a little bit about your history, because not only are you a technology, I don't want to, use hyperbole here, but you're kind of a genius. At least that's how we look at you. You seem to know a lot of the technology kind of effortlessly. But what is important about you is your experience in the field. you came to us, well, in a roundabout way. You've done work in the field with Cooperative for Human Services. You've run residential programs, many of them, a lot of responsibility. You want to tell us just really quickly your kind of your pedigree and why you make an ideal choice for a position like this?
Sure. So I started working with adults with developmental disabilities back in 2010, I believe, with Cooperative for Human Services, and I learned a lot there. I worked there for over 12 years, and so it was long journey. And why I chose NuPath is because I have had like great relationship with people that who work here for NuPath for so long, and then the individuals that I used to work with when I was with another organization, they come to NuPath. Like I always wanted to learn about the day programming stuff as well, and then when COVID hit us, then like everything kind of shut down and stuff like that. So I wanted to create some tools for the people that we serve. What is out there, like can we do the virtual learning? And that's the time like all this Zoom and started booming up. And then I was already like doing some IT work back in my career when I was in school, at the early age. And then since COVID started, that really kind of you know uh, made me to think that there gotta be some way to help people get connected.
Your job with Cooperative for Human Services, as I understand it, was quite intense. You had a lot of responsibility, oversaw a lot of programs, and this was during a time when but staffing was particularly difficult to find. We know about the staffing, the workforce crisis, and then I think you told me that you decided to prioritize your young children at the time,
Yes.
and so you did something else for a while before you came back to the field. We know that you had hopes of assisting us in an area related to technology, but you joined us first as an associate director in our residential division, and so that gave you a really great introduction to our programs and to the field. So you're coming at this with with the credentials that we would be looking for somebody that can look at a tool, look at a system and say, this will work or this can't work, or these are going to be some of the pitfalls or the troubles that you anticipate. Will you talk a little bit about, you mentioned it briefly, shift board. Could you kind of summarize that for us and explain how you see that being implemented?
Basically, Shiftboard is something, for the layman term, is it helps us maintain our schedule, the staffing,
Our
right?
schedule. Yeah.
Yes, scheduling. So what it does is that from the staff standpoint, people, our team leaders, it gives people equal opportunity. Because a lot of time when I'm in residential, oh, so and so probably getting 60 hours, but I'm not, I don't get calls, right? So
Right.
so I don't get calls. So that sometimes we hear that. So now with the shift board, it gives everybody equal opportunity. What shifts are available? Can I go here? Can I go there? Do I want to work 9 to 3 on the weekend? Or, am I like, because you can choose the shift that you are available to work with.
So
Yes,
that
yes.
is that's the exciting part. I think I would be dishonest of me to not say that another sort of main important driver here for us moving to shipboard, yes, to increase the experience for the employee of having equal access to, and you're talking about if a staff person wants to take an extra shift to get overtime, we want people to have fair opportunities for that. But really, it is how to control our costs and how to use our money in the best and most responsible way. So it was last year, I think, or the year before, where we had spent something like $1 million we're a $26 million organization. And when you spend 1 million of it just on overtime and outside relief, which is obviously more expensive, and often the outside relief, the staff are not as familiar with with our people, and the experience is not always the best, the most desirable. It is a way for us to get a handle on how staffing is being implemented, filling shifts in the most cost-effective way, and that's going to contribute to the overall health of the organization.
Yes. So what helps me is, the system admins, especially for the shift board. So the actual, because, I have already experienced things because it was great opportunity for me to come as the residential, associate director. So I, got to learn, ways to kind of, work, you know, make things work. And then we have to have open communication, right? And then what we see in a daily, day to day, at the programs, and then because more we get to hear, better solution that we can come up with. So if there is, communication breakdowns, and and then because to fix something, we need to know the issue, right? So
Yeah,
if
yeah.
so.
Mahesh, people love you. Um, you are, it's a rare thing to have somebody start and in just such a short period of time, so commit themselves on a wide scale level. And here's some of the things I've heard about you. I've heard about just how you are so eager to dive into anything. They tell me that you scarcely, somebody will barely mention something that we're curious about, or that is an issue, and the next thing you know, Mahesh is dived right into it. You are so eager and the first to lend a hand. Brett was telling me that it was at one of the events, either Juneteenth or a walk, or probably both, that you were there helping set up tables. You're the first one to arrive on the scene. This is somebody that's in their first year of employment with the organization. You have you have made some of these transitions. You've done these transitions in a way that you haven't earned a lot of enemies. Only people that see you as being a solver of problems and a person that is genuinely cares about our mission. I know I've appreciated having your, I'll say, bright face in the audience when we're at various things where I'm sharing or presenting at something. You seem to be engaged in all ways. And that is something that's so important to me. And you just wanted you to know that I'm probably embarrassing you a little bit, but you are clearly, you've got a lot of emotional intelligence. And so I'm sure that people haven't met you yet, that they will soon, or if they know who you are, they're going to have a chance to see how you're going to hopefully make their lives better so they can work smarter, not harder. And so we're very excited about that. What have been your impressions of NuPath? If you could, since you've joined, is it what you thought it would be? I hope we're as good as you hoped we'd be. I'm sure we've got lots of ways to improve, but do you want to share with people watching?
Sure. Thank you, Dan. I want to be part of the community. And what NuPath does is NuPath wants to be part of this community and then help this community. Because so that's the key point here. Because how the team does things together. There are challenging times, there are hard times. I want to do 100 things every day, right? Probably I only get to, complete like 5 tasks. When I go home, I don't think about 95 things that I couldn't do. I think about, 5 things that, I successfully, did that day. So that keeps me motivated, right? And then, because if I start thinking about 95 things that I didn't do yesterday, I'm not going to have, good sleep.
Mahesh Subedi, you've been so great to talk to us today, and those are great words to conclude with. I think the next time I'm lying awake at night thinking about all the 95 things I didn't do that day, I'll try to remember your positive energy. You're so zen. And I think we could all learn something from you, but I think those are good words to live by. I'm glad that you have the same desires. I know we share same values, and your desire to be part of a team. That's one of our core values, belonging. It's that we belong to something greater than ourselves, and that together we accomplish some amazing things. So thank you so very much for coming on NuPath Live today and for all you're doing. And I am very excited to watch your growth and to see how you're going to help us and benefit our clients and our staff. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dan.
That was great to talk to Mahesh. We thank him again for being part of NuPath Live. All right, this next guy, you know him. If you've seen him pretty recently, if you have anything to do with NuPath, you know who I'm talking about. Let's bring Roger Mumper on board and see what he's been up to and how he is managing in his new role. Roger Mumper, welcome to NuPath Live.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I don't think this was the plan when we had the idea of inviting you, because the whole point of today's episode is to talk tech, talk technology, and its integration to our programs. But when it was suggested, and I think it might have been my idea, to bring you on board because you're in a new role now, I didn't realize until I started to look at my notes that you were the last person I interviewed on the last NuPath Live in September. So you've hit a new record. You've been the most featured in the least number of episodes in NuPath history. So congratulations. But
Thank you.
for those who don't know you, you've been a longtime member of the NuPath family since 2010. You'll be celebrating your 15th anniversary this year. Of course, we know you're a Walk Dynasty member. You've been part of the Club 50 every year since 2015. You've raised over $15,000 in revenue through your work as a direct support professional, team leader, and coordinator, and most importantly, the winner of the Medal of Magnanimity last year. Roger, in your new role as Mobile Technology Engagement and Support Manager, that title, did I make that up? I hope I didn't. What is your job with NuPath? How is it different? What are you doing to help NuPath in its goals related to technology?
I'm really focused on navigating life right now. I'm reaching out to families, trying to get all the families and loved ones signed up, guardians, management. Also, whenever you have someone new arrive, I really give the families a little rundown of, navigating life and how it's beneficial for them, for us, for everyone involved. Doing a lot of outreach to a lot of the houses we work with too, not just the Westford Day program where I'm based, but doing a lot of contact with some of the houses. There's a lot of staff too that needed to be signed up, or need assistance. We are on, version 3 point something now. We've had a lot of iterations of the app, so it's good to reach out, make sure everyone's signed up and understanding the new app and how it works. And
yeah, Navigate like 3.0. If I'm a family member and I'm just like, oh, I'm so sick of hearing NuPath talk about navigating life, wouldn't you agree that 3.0 really took the app to a completely different level as far as ease of use and accessibility and all of that?
yeah, no, I say it really does present as almost like a Facebook or Instagram, like the quality. It looks that quality. There's still where it's always improving. We're always trying to update and improve, and we have a lot of improvements coming. There's a long list of things coming soon, coming in the next few months, and then even like long-term goals to make it. But yeah, no, it looks great. It's better than ever, and it's constantly improving.
I don't really know I haven't seen the balance sheet of Facebook or of Instagram, but somebody tells me they have some more money than we do to invest in R&D. So to hear you say that it rivals, or not rivals, but at least it approximates the experience that a user has using Facebook or Instagram, I'll take that. We'll take that because it is something that we're always aspiring to. Roger, you've got a great technology. It's a way for families to have a window into what's going on with their loved one, their son, daughter, sibling in a program. And yet, what would you say the number one reason is more people don't just use it automatically? If you've encountered people, maybe they've been staff that have been part of our programs, working in our programs with our people for 10, 15, 20 years, families that have been connected with this, why do you think people aren't using it more?
I feel like some staff were maybe discouraged from past experiences years ago with, some issues that have been resolved now. And also, I don't know if sometimes when the families are more engaged, or if your posts are being liked, or you're getting feedback or comments, it encourages staff. So some staff just feel like, well, I'm posting it, but who's really noticing like staff like to be recognized, or they like recognition for what they've done. So now I make it a point to always, I'm liking and commenting on photos. I'm going around telling staff they did a good job if I see quality photos being posted. I'm encouraging all our team members to really be involved. So even if the guardians and parents aren't necessarily liking and commenting, they know that management, upper management, even fellow coworkers are. And that seems to help. The people like to know
It's that
that.
rush of what is it? I was going to say adrenaline rush, but the feeling you say when you hear the notification come on that somebody's liked to post something that you posted.
Yeah.
It's how do you make sure our staff have that, and our families have a unique opportunity to provide some of that for staff when they see something that they like, right? I mean, the idea is that the more a family member can comment or like something that a staff person's put up there, the likelihood increases that they'll do more.
Yeah, actually, some of our most involved family members are the newest to NuPath. We have a couple of 22-year-olds that have recently joined our autism programs. And, I was able to talk to their families right off the bat from day one. And also the parents of the younger generation are more familiar with Facebook, Instagram, social media. So they might be in their 40s and they have been using it for the last 20 some odd years, or, and they're ready to, dive right into navigating life. And I noticed some of our most engaged parents are actually some of our newest clients. And it really helps the transition for a new client. It helps the family to see, like, okay, they're new to a new program. I really want to see how they're doing in the transition. So they're actively engaged in navigating life.
So you're working up, you're still up in Westford. How would you say the adoptions increased between then and now?
I feel like the last month or two, actually, things have really picked up. I've been working closely with our staff here at Westford, and also, Ann and myself have been, and we've been reaching out to the houses, and with all the management directors, yeah, everyone involved. But we've really been trying to get the residential homes to improve, the use of navigating life, and they've been doing better. Here in Westford, I personally feel like most of our most of our autism groups especially have really picked it up. And they're posting, some groups are averaging almost 30 photos a day now. And it's not just the same repetitive ones. I actually just we had a staff meeting yesterday here in Westford, and I just did a little presentation on, navigating life and quality of photos, not just quantity, and trying to get into that.
That's so critical. I'm getting the signal that we're out of time. But I'm glad you were able to join us today. Thank you so much for coming on. I wanted people to see you again, put a face to a name. If you haven't heard from Roger yet, he will be soon, I think, making his journey to some of our other programs. He's going to be working with residential programs and New Boston Street and even Martin Center to try to get this off the ground or more fully engaged in other parts of our community. Roger, thank you so much. Congratulations on this important new job. One of the great things about having a job, getting a job that no one's ever had before, is that you can set your own path, and I know you'll do that in a way that makes NuPath proud. And we'll be talking to you again soon. Maybe we'll work in somebody else between now and whenever it is invited back. But we really thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. I know that was a really jam-packed NuPath Live today, and I hope that you didn't tune out when you heard the word technology, because not everybody loves it. But it is essential, and we need to use it. We need to use it efficiently. We need to know what's going on, how to push the boundaries of what we've been able to do in the field of human services in the past, and how we can how we can engage with technology in a way that's going to continue to improve the lives of the people that we serve. I'm counting on you guys. No one person can do this, and we need you using the tools that we have out there so we can get the very best to our families and those we support. All right, that's it. Any more? And I'll sound like I'm preaching, guys. We got this. No matter what happens, we'll get through it. And I will talk to you sooner, I hope, than in 6 months. Bye, everyone.